What is up, everyone? Okay, so initially this video was actually going to be a little something about AI because I saw somebody making a post about AI and treating it like yet another outrage piece. And my whole thing about AI is that like I've lived with artists before, and you can't force art. If you have an art thought in your head and you can't create the thing that you're trying to see, I believe that AI can actually be a bit of a good tool if used properly. AI could be a good tool. I believe that copywriting should be done. I believe that there should be a lot of like legislative, not a lot, like a lot of legislative, red tape to make sure that it doesn't steal any work or people don't try to utilize the AI to make. But that's neither here nor there because once I started actually getting into trying to get deeper into the art discussions, I just recently found out that the X Men original series from like the '90s is now getting revamped. So now because it's getting revamped, a lot of people are loving it because of nostalgia reasons or hating it because they're fans and fans are inclined to hate everything. But then I realized that there's a controversy about Morph being non-binary. Now, I'm gonna just go ahead and say this right now. I don't care how controversial this makes, how controversial this sounds, or if this makes me lose any like. I don't care how bad this take is. Bigots are not nerds. I do not believe that bigots or bullies are nerds. You can be because like I'll always say this, like the smartest thing that a person could do right now, the smartest thing that a person could do right now is maybe end world hunger. Bigots are incapable of ending world hunger. Imagine knowing every prime number from like 1 to the biggest prime number that you can think of, and also still losing your mind because a guy in a dress freaks you out. You're not a smart person. To me, that person is not a smart person anymore. This is a bigot who knows prime numbers. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't understand why, like I will never, like, when I think of, like, if you say nerd to me, if you say a nerd to me, I'm thinking of a smart person. I'm thinking of a person who is trying to utilize whatever interest that they have to at least apply to solve specific problems. Like when I was a kid growing up, if you were a nerd, that means that you were creating something. You were using mechanical engineering to try to fix a problem. Granted, sometimes the machine would break down or something, but it was the fact that you were smart enough to know how to do that, and you were smart enough to acknowledge that there was a problem, and you tried to utilize what little bit of knowledge that you had in order to try to solve the problem. Now let's just say, for example, if you were a smart person, all you did was try to make the problem worse intentionally. You're not a nerd to me. You're just a jerk with a lot of free time. So like I don't believe that bigotry or bullying is a nerd quality. As a matter of fact, I believe it's an anti-nerd quality. And there's too many people that are trying to like justify. There's too many people trying to justify cruelty to justify being a nerd, like to say, oh yeah, by the way, that's a nerd thing. It's like, so now I'm trying to figure out, because my logic can't mesh the idea of bigots and nerds being in like the same category. I find myself wondering, why is there so many right wingers and so many bullies and so many bigots in nerd spaces? You know what I'm saying? Nerds create stuff to solve problems. You guys are the problem. Like, why are y'all here? You know what I mean? Because like there's so much, the outrage for Morph being non-binary is, first off, it's just like, first off, it's like you can't call yourself a nerd and be angry about that. Technically speaking, if a shapeshifter can change their shape into anything, okay, that means that if your default stance is a dude and you shapeshift into a woman, right? Then you're a woman for that moment, right? Like technically speaking, gender specific, you have no gender. So that would mean like from a universal standpoint, as far as writing, that's like writing a character. That's like writing a character that's from another planet and like saying, oh, by the way, they're an alien. They're an unregistered alien, right? And people be like, oh no, I can't believe that they're an unregistered alien. And it's like they literally are from another planet. How do you like it's messing with me just exactly how it's messing with me exactly how it got Like maybe I'm just not like I'm just not. I don't understand. I'm a little confused about how do y'all get this. Like I said, there's people out there who genuinely like. That's one reason why I don't believe. Like I can't equate nerd with person who likes fiction because there's too many people. Like fiction has a lot of messages in it, a lot of messages. Like you can't like there's a difference between liking something because pretty colors, nice nice lights, big sounds, and all this other stuff. There's a difference between going to the circus and watching a TV series. Going to the circus, I clearly like I don't want to say going to the circus, but it's like there's a difference between watching something to be entertained and watching something that's entertaining. Because if you watch something specifically to be entertained, you might ignore the actual message that is being thrown at you. Whereas if you watch something entertaining, there is no message. And the problem is that like it's too easy for people to just say, "Oh, there isn't a message to this." And it's like, but in the case of the X-Men, the message was clear. The, the message was super clear. Like they were saying what the message was. Like it was a reference to it was a reference to what was going on during the time of civil rights and activism and things like that. They were basically like that was what it was. And it's not even just X-Men who did this. Superman is literally like a reference to what, immigration, if I'm not mistaken. I want to say Batman was technically like a reference to oh God, it could be a reference to anything because there's been like a million different Supermans, but the story has always been the same. There's always been somebody who turned their trauma into something that into something that they believe benefited other people. That was kind of like what it was. I feel like that was the mess of what it was. No, but then but bring in some people that's going to be like, no man, Batman is actually a fascist who just goes around picking on people who are mentally disabled. Because the people that are mentally disabled aren't actively trying to hurt anybody else. Apparently, I don't know, but like it's just like it's why are there so many bigots in the nerd communities? Why are there so many like bro? I don't like I'm like like how do you be a fan of Star Trek, right? And not see that that Star Trek is basically an attempt to write a utopia. It's literally a person's attempt to writing a utopia. Did you really just was like, oh no, actually, Star Trek was actually cool because of the floating ship and the space stuff. That's it. Like, how do y'all get this wrong so badly? Then it's like, and then I'm currently, like I said, I'm currently at odds with somebody else right now because they're basically saying, no, actually, bigots can be nerds because, like, if you're smart, if you're smart, it doesn't matter how to. No. To me, I always say this specifically for me. I always make it personal because I don't want anybody to think that I'm trying to start a universal fad here. Me personally, I judge knowledge by how many people you help in comparison to how many people you harm. Your existence could be harmful to another human being, but if your existence could literally be harmful to another human being. But if your existence is harmful to another human being, but you're genuinely helping out more people than you harm, then I believe that you're a smart person because a genius knows how to help everyone without harming anyone. You know what I mean? But an idiot will harm everyone without even trying or without even caring or anything like that. Like I measure knowledge by empathy, not by like I measure knowledge by like empathy and the ability to kind of like just sort of be helpful. If you're not helpful, then if you're not at least a little bit helpful, I believe that you're a moron. That's just my belief. That's just my perspective. Most people don't want to. Most people don't want to go through that. Most people be like, no, actually, there were racist scientists who were responsible for the things that. Yeah, but it wasn't the fact that they were like even if there was racist scientists that are responsible for everything around me, I'm not gonna be like, wowie zowie, those people are geniuses. I'm gonna be like, those racist pieces of garbage. They just completely took things away from people who probably weren't racist and made it their own. Because you don't have to be a bigot to be smart. But you also are not smarter for being a bigot. Like you can be if you're smart and a bigot, then I'm not gonna respect you for being smart. I'm gonna hate you for being a bigot. That's just how I am. You know, because the same, because like I'm gonna give it like at least a good decade, and there's gonna be some people who's gonna say, "Oh yeah, here's why Donald Trump is actually one of the greatest presidents of all time." Meh, 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 meh. Like in a decade, there's gonna be somebody who's gonna pull that, and anybody who has lived during his presidency is gonna be like, "F out of here! What's wrong with you?" That's what I'm saying though. It's just stressing me out because of the fact that it's like going. I don't like the fact that like in these nerds, we've somehow managed to blur the lines between like what's good and what's bad in the community now. And I really don't like the fact that like because in a nerd community, like imagine calling yourself a nerd, you know, and being speculated to be smart and not being able to explain what woke is. You know what I mean? Like I'm sorry, but it's like like for me, being a nerd means at least being smart. And I don't think you're smart if you're a bigoted sociopath with absolutely not like you like why are y'all here? Why are y'all here? Are y'all aware that y'all are the bad guys in these stories? This is why I don't care how controversial this take is, but I 100% believe, 1,000,000% believe that we need more like bad guy. We need more villains that are like racist. I'm talking like just off the cuff, like hate every like we need bigoted villains again. We need bigoted villains because people don't understand that bigotry is bad now, and we need something to prove to these people, to explain to these people, bro. Sometimes a bad person is just bad. Sometimes evil is just evil. Sometimes it won't just be a oh my god they were sad when they were kids and now everybody needs to pay for it. No, some people are just jerks. We need those people. We need those villains again because of the fact that because it's starting to bleed into regular society. That oh well, but maybe they're not that bad. No, sometimes people just are. Sometimes people are just bad. And sometimes being challenged and challenging those people doesn't make you a bad person. It makes you like normal. We need more homophobic villains. We need more racist villains. We need more bigoted villains. We need evil. We need evil villains again. You know what I mean? Because of the fact that you're not supposed to feel bad about the villain every time. You're not supposed to be sympathetic to the villain every time. Sometimes the villain is just bad. I know I said it twice, but it's important. That's why I'm saying it. Bigots can't be nerds. Because a nerd understands that the world has way too many problems to try to add more problems. But a bigot will add more problems just because they're bored and they're stupid. And I can't believe, like, you're not gonna be able to. You can't put those two worlds, and like those two worlds are just too big to put together to me. I'm just annoyed because of the fact that like this is what imagine being upset that the comic series dedicated to the civil rights activism movement includes a non-binary character who can change genders. At some point, we have to start acknowledging that these people are not nerds. These people are not smart. These people are not part of the community. These people are bad. But until everybody else joins in, I'll just be the guy who says it on my own. And I'm cool with that. If I'm the only guy who says it, I'm cool with that. I'm not trying to tell anybody to go off of my personal beliefs. I'm just saying this is what I believe, and I'm fine with my belief because I would rather believe that evil and smart don't coincide, don't go together. I'm okay with being the naive, idealistic little rube whatever who believe that evil and smart doesn't go together, then believe that they go together and that somehow improves things. So yeah. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to go on this rant. I'm just annoyed, bro. Like evil and smarts are just not evil and smart. Just like like you're either evil or you're smart. Like I said, you can't tell me how you can't you can't tell me how many stars there are in the sky and and how awesome like how far the moon is from Earth and all that. You can't tell me stuff like that and then tell me also, by the way, marginalized people Picking on them and attacking them and hurting marginalized people will always be justified because it's funny as hell. I'm gonna be like, dude, you are like, dude, I don't think you're smart anymore. I think you're evil, and you just like looking up at the sky a lot. Get away from me forever. You can sit at somebody else's table, but you sure as hell ain't gonna sit at mine. Love and peace.